Okay, I'm really pleased with the way this turned out. I did put a little bit of water on it. I took my brush and got a little bit of water, and then I dried off quite a bit of that water, and it did kind of go underneath a little bit, but that's okay. I like the way that turned out. Okay, so there's our brick wall, and we're also going to add a little bit of brick wall over here to this side. So, hang on while we get that side done. The reason I want to put one on this side too is I like to balance things out just a little bit so that your eyes just aren't drawn to one side of the page, that you're looking at all of it. The different colors will draw your eyes throughout the page. Okay, I really like that. I'm going to kind of play around here with this 7 because I want to punch that up a little bit, make that show up a little bit better. Kind of cover that up with a little bit of paint. Hopefully bring out that 7 a little bit more. And a little bit more. Kind of bring out over here the outline. I'm very pleased with that. Very good. Like that. Now we're going to be covering up the top of this with some of the paper. And I like the stripes. This is still a little bit wet, so let me give that a quick dry. Okay, this page is completely dry now. We're going to be adding a strip of the paper up here at the top. And I'm going, since this does not cover all the way, I'm going to be adding 2 different pieces of this. So I'm going to be just tearing along here. And I know many of you are familiar with tearing paper, but I want the white edge to show. So you need to pull it away so that you get that white edge. Let's see, am I pulling it far enough away? Yeah. So get that wonderful white edge. I always like those white edges. Great. Okay, that's going to fit along there. I'm going to then turn this around. I'm going to do another one so that I can cover a little bit over here on this edge. And then since I have those lines, I can use those for a guide and just cut down. Now, you could tear those if you wanted. Whatever kind of a look that you want. Great. I really like how that came together with those torn pages. I'm going to shorten this up a little bit and tear over here on this side so I can see all of that. Okay, we're going to adhere this to the page, again using the gel medium that we've used before. Now you may notice that it kind of buckles, your page will kind of buckle when you add this glue to it. But if you're using a nice heavy paper, when it dries, most of that buckling will go away. It'll flatten out as it dries. So add your gel medium. Make sure it's well covered, but not too thick. You don't want to have a lot of lumps and bumps underneath it. And then as I overlap, I'm going to make sure, cover those. Great. And then the last one, clear to the edge. Occasionally you'll get it to go over the edges. And if you do get your pages where they're glued together, you can just take an X-Acto knife or your scissors and then you can just cut that off. Kind of slide it down the edge there and you'll separate them. All right, now that I've got that on, your next choice is to be, you can choose to cover it with your gel medium to really let that stick down, or you can just wait. I'm going to go ahead and cover mine. Then I'm going to let this dry really well. Then I'm going to finish up with adding my embellishments. And then this page is going to be finished. The first page is going to be all done. So I'll be right back after this gets dried, and we'll finish up this first workshop. I've been busy gathering different supplies that I wanted to use for this, some of the different embellishments that I want to put on this. I've chosen which photo I want to start with. I'm also going to be using some rub-ons, but I wanted to show you kind of a fun technique and something fun you can do with the rub-ons. And one thing I want to share with you when you do use rub-ons is don't worry about making sure that you get it on perfectly. Perfectly fine if some of it's missing. I prefer that look anyway. I'm going to use these rub-ons by, who was this by? DCWV. I'm going to use these rub-ons here. So let me get them open. And I'm just going to rub this right along the bottom of this gray paper that I've torn. And just lift that off. And if any of it doesn't get down, that's fine too. Now I think something that's kind of fun to do, and maybe you have never thought of this before, is to paint inside of here. Now if you'll notice, these have little clubs and spades inside of here. So just to give it a little lift, I'm going to paint inside of there. And I want this to show up. I want that little element inside of this to show up, so I'm going to add a little water to that. And it just gives it just a little bit of color inside of there, which is fun. And I'm using that same paint that I used for the brick. Now if you want to add any more, these are like little heart shapes. That would be fun to have them painted. Now it doesn't bother me to have this extra paint, and you probably can't see it, but if you get some extra paint along there, that's fine. Adds a little bit of color to that. You can always add water to it to kind of remove that if you need to. I kind of like that. Okay. It's just something a little extra fun, little something fun to do when you're adding rub-ons to your pages. And I like to use a lot of rub-ons. So let me go ahead and work on finishing this up for you.